Welcome, Greg and Maddie.
Hello.
Hey, we're still recovering from that dancing, I'm
I
telling
know. What we're talking about is, of course, the countdown timer. And I forced them into dancing, and I think that they had the most entertaining countdown timer dance of all. What say you, chat room? Award given. So
Proud of us.
Me too.
So real quick, this is the show we do in partnership with Ecamm, and I just need to let you know one thing. Glenn is actually going to be doing a super mega black magic unboxing live today right after this show, 3 p.m. Eastern on the Ecamm YouTube channel. So that link is coming to you in the comments, so be sure to join them and watch the unboxing galore. So we're gonna get geeky today, I promise, because we do have Greg and Maddie actually do their show out of a guest bedroom, and
Yep.
so you guys are gonna ready to show behind the scenes a little bit, right?
Yeah, we've just what we were doing during the dancing was actually running around and trying to tidy it a bit so that it's not too bad when we show you it later.
We call this our spare room studio. It really is our spare room, which means it's a dumping ground for everything, not just half a studio. So apologies in advance for the mess.
You know what? I think that's brilliant because I love to show people that they can do it. They can go live, they can have a tech set up, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm looking forward to seeing the mess. So let's talk about you guys real quick. So you guys, well, the Let's Go Live, you guys focus on the channel itself as well, Maddie Moate. And that link is in the description as well. You guys focus on, science and educational type videos for a younger audience. It's really fun to watch even as an adult, by the way. Like I found myself sucked in, especially this one. Hold on, I'm going to embarrass you for a second here. Especially this one, how to make a poo.
Oh yeah.
That's a classic.
So that one was a lot of fun, but I would love for you to just quickly talk about kind of your history and how you came about to making these this content on YouTube.
Okay, so
Go
yeah, so I've had the YouTube channel for quite a few years and have been making educational, family, fun science videos for a while. And the two of us together make a lot of travel vlogs. If ever we travel anywhere, we'll always find fun stories that spark curiosity and would make videos about them. And then the thing happened. The thing in 2020 happened. And quite quickly, a lot of the work that both of us had planned for the year was gone. It disappeared. And we noticed that a lot of families, especially in the UK, were suddenly thrown into a position where they were going to have to be homeschooling their children. And we noticed that there was panic and people were urgently looking for online resources. And we just thought, well, we can help. We've got cameras. We know how to make YouTube videos. So maybe we can take it one step further.
That's awesome. I love that. And so what did you do exactly when it came to transitioning to live, and what did that look like for you?
So we thought, hey, why don't we start doing live shows? We'd not actually done live on the YouTube channel before. We're both, I've done a lot of TV, you've done a lot of TV, and done live spots on TV programs in the UK and around the world. But we were like, we can do this. So literally over a weekend, about a day and a half, I researched kind of what software I needed to use, hit on Ecamm, and I was like, well, that looks good. Gave it a trial, loved it, super kind of simple to use. So I spent basically a day in the spare room here working out how to set up scenes and do countdowns, and we just got all the camera equipment out that we were already using, plugging it into the laptop, working out what gave us a good feed, and then we were like, well, let's do it. And then we, for some mad reason, decided to do a show every weekday morning.
Yeah.
So whilst Greg was learning the tech, I was madly writing the shows, the first 5 shows, which were, each of our weeks was based around a topic, because we love the idea of topic learning because it's really accessible for so many people. And And it was a lot, but I think that going daily at exactly the same time was an important part of, I guess, our strategy, because actually it meant that we quickly got into people's routines right at the start of when everything changed. And I think that was really important when it came to how it helped the channel to grow.
Yeah, and we should say each show is 30 minutes ish. Sometimes they were 40. Yeah. And it's got, each show's got like a quiz in it. It's got so much user generated content, UGC, because we set up an email address and we were getting hundreds of emails in every day. It has videos that we pre-recorded and edited. It has a lot of activities that we were doing here, like crafts and games,
science demos.
It was packed every show. It was great. We loved it.
And that's one of the first things I noticed, and I was like, they had to have been doing this before the thing happened, because it was so well done, and you had all of these different segments. And those of you in my coaching program, by the way, we're talking about segments this month in the coaching program, where we talk about like how you segment your shows, just like what Greg and Maddie have done, because that is such an important part of engagement and keeping people's attention. So, I mean, you come from the TV world where TV is highly segmented. So I guess that kind of came natural to you.
Yeah, I think we both recognize that younger viewers especially respond really well.
Oops, sorry. Wrong camera switch.
I guess we recognize that younger viewers respond well to format, and also it actually helped us create the content, especially as we were turning it out so quickly. So we knew that we wanted every live show to have a quiz, at least 2 makes. So actually putting those restrictions on ourselves kind of helped.
Yeah, definitely. And also we found that the community, different members of the community love different things. So we always had a quiz dance to some quiz music. A bit like You're Awesome kind of dance on the way up to the show. We always had an awkward selfie that we'd stop and we'd take with us wearing whatever outfit or costume or prop that we'd made, and then that would get shared over social with our handles. So it meant that like our handles and everything were getting shared, the show was getting shared, the community felt part of it, and it just grew from there.
But some of those segments actually happen quite organically. For example, you just mentioned the awkward selfie. We were just holding up some things that we had shown our audience how to make, and we thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to take a photo as if we're all together, and then that could be shared. And it really helped to get the message out. And then the audience liked it so much. If we ever forgot to do an
they would tell us. They would tell us. And then when we, the show's based on science and nature, and so there were a lot of facts. And it was on one of the first couple of shows when we dropped a fact, we were like, oh, that's a fact bomb, and it just stuck. And then there was a sound effect with it, and then it just became a thing.
I think it became a thing because Greg was just enjoying playing with Ecamm Live and working out all the things you could do. So actually, you just like playing sound effects. Actually,
that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Well, I've had the pleasure of talking to Greg a bit about the tech and stuff behind the scenes, and he does seem to geek out on this stuff quite a bit, which is awesome. But it does make, and that's the thing, is when you have a tech setup like what they have and what we help you do around here, it enables so many possibilities when it comes to audience engagement, which is what they've tapped into with this. We always talk about audience triggers. These are audience triggers at play. So just to connect all the dots for our viewers, you talked about how it happened kind of organically. Oops, I keep doing the wrong camera switch. Sorry. I was too excited to get to you. So you talked about how it happened organically. How long, this is one of the questions that a lot of people have when it comes to putting out segments or coming up with these different things that you can play with your audience around. Did like day one, week one, did you have all of the segments in place, or did you have 1 or 2 and then like those things just came over time?
Well, we knew that we wanted each show to have a quiz element because we knew we wanted there to be something that was going to be interactive, because we thought if we're going to go live, then we need to make the most of it. We didn't want the show to be something that could have just been a pre-recorded video. Right. So the quiz was a big part of that. So we wanted some game quiz element. Yeah. And then because we wanted the shows to be roughly half an hour, we thought one quiz and 2 activities plus an intro and an outro kind of worked out about right. So that's what we started with.
Yep. And in terms of content, like we never really knew what the next week's content was really going to be. Like there was so much we were producing that really that was just happening kind of on the fly. You know, we'd finish a show at midday at lunchtime, and then we'd spend the afternoon and the evening writing the next show and try to think ahead a couple of days.
Yeah. It's fun that but the success of the show and our own ambition as well meant that there was, as we progressed, there was more and more to do for each show.
Yeah.
So if you look back at at some of the early shows, just the information in the description box is quite limited. If you compare that to the information that goes into the description box in our later shows around about episode 40 plus, there is so much more, because we've got more to say, more that we learnt we had to direct the audience to.
Well, also the speed of delivery and the content grew, because we were aiming for a younger audience to start with, and then we actually realized that we were skewing a little bit older, I guess.
Well, for families, we had
like the whole family. We had everyone from kind of 4-year-olds watching to 14-year-olds watching.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that things would work for different age groups, and always that plan was, here's an activity or 2 that you can do this afternoon with your family.
And then we would encourage them or the grown-ups to send in photos or videos of them trying these things at home, which we could then show in the next day's program.
Which was amazing, like showing a big bunch of kids photos, or the videos. We had a whole episode, a special episode that was just kids videos, and we were sent hundreds and hundreds, and it was amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing to watch, and that's one of the things that I love so much about your show. That's a lot of work. I know how much work that is, because I've done segments like that in the past, and gathering that, processing it, putting together the shows for a daily show. It's an intense amount of work. Did you essentially just swap out the time that you were spending on produced videos for live, or did you go overboard and over time?
We swapped out everything else. So lockdown was just let's go live for us.
That was it.
The thing.
You said the word.
You covered it up.
It's okay. It's okay. Please.
Should have had a sound effect for that. Never mind.
Oh, it didn't do it.
So we were sleeping, dreaming, and breathing this program. It really was everything that we were doing.
Yeah, but that was because of our ambitions and the fact that we could do that, right? Talking to the people watching, the fact is that you can do these shows, as you explain, of course, Luria, with LSP, like you can just do these things simply with the kit you've got.
Yeah.
It's just that we had these mad ambitions to basically do a multi-camera studio show with VT, like video inserts, full graphics, and live interaction.
Like, why make one volcano explode when you can show 3 varieties of exploding volcanoes whilst also doing a quiz about dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Then that's not even the start of it. Like it was bonkers.
That's crazy. So you put everything into live, and I like to use the phrase "you thrived with live," because that is essentially, it seems to me, what happened through this transition. And can you share a little bit of maybe stats or information about what it did for you? Obviously, you talked about how you were getting lots of promotion on social and conversation going. People became aware of the live stream show. But what happened for your channel? What happened for your brand in general?
Do you want to start, or do you want me to lay down some stats?
You go for it. Do some numbers.
Okay. So we did 50 shows live from the spare room. And we had over 2 million plays. We say plays because a lot of the photos we were sent were families watching it around a big screen. So they'd be streaming on a big screen, and there would be 3 to 5 people watching it. So I think we could kind of, I wouldn't do this, but I think in terms of eyeballs on it or people watching it, you could probably times it by 2 or 3. So we had about 2.5 million plays of the videos. Subs on the channel went from just under 80 to just over 140.
Whoa.
Massive growth.
That's
and
amazing.
We set up a crowdfunder to kind of help support us. And we, a graphic designer we got on to help doing a few hours a week, and an editor because we couldn't turn our videos around quickly enough, the inserts, and the crowdfunding just absolutely took off because they were awesome. The community that it kind of built, they're absolute legends.
But I think as well as like actual, seeing those numbers grow on the channel, I think what blew us away more than anything was the fact that we clearly tapped into something that people needed at the right time, because it was the engagement that really surprised us. We set up an email address for people to get in touch and tell us what they'd been up to after watching the show, and we were getting 500 plus emails a day, and that in itself, to try and go through all of those emails, make sure they were seen, to pull out photos and videos and put them in nice frames so they look good using Ecamm Live. That in itself was a 3-4 hour daily job. So we actually brought on somebody to help us with the admin side of things because the engagement went up so much.
And it was still 17-hour days for us. How did that happen? In terms of viewer numbers, if people are interested in that, when we started, I guess just our social brought in 1,000 or so people watching live, but then that built during that first week. Probably the start of the second week, we had about 8,000 devices watching.
That's amazing.
And then that fluctuated as the situation changed in the UK, with some people going back to school, some people not, holidays, etc. Those numbers fluctuated, but we were always amazed at how many people would join us live, because as you know, live is fun because all sorts of stuff happens and we just embrace it. Like when a camera goes down, or what happened? We did a volcano and you got covered in vinegar.
We've had shows where everything has gone wrong. Can we tell them about the
yellow
iPhone?
boxes? Yeah.
Oh boy,
I love this.
Okay, so talking tech, right?
Yes.
So we used a couple of DSLRs that we've had for years, like 10 years almost, because fortunately you could plug them in by USB and they just went straight into laptop. Brilliant. One day they wouldn't connect. Something had happened and they wouldn't connect. And it was a setting on the computer. Thankfully, straight after the show, I could get in touch with the Ecamm support, and I chatted to them straight away and got it sorted. But we literally realized 10 minutes before a show. So I was like, what do we do? Tried all the different cameras. In the end, plugged my iPhone in because that has a direct feed in. So then I just sat the iPhone where the normal DSLR is, and we just started the show, and it was great. And the live chat was just erupting. I'm normally like this. I'm normally driving the desk, right, doing all the mixing, and talking to camera. And I was like, and then I realized what was happening. The yellow boxes, the focus boxes, were still on the iPhone. So for like the whole show, we were doing it, and just like we'd suddenly be in a box.
Every time we moved, it was like, bing, bing. We got the giggles so hard. It was so funny. At the time we were doing something ridiculous, like showing how to make your own rock pool using stones.
Oh, that was it, yeah.
And but it made it better. It made it better. That kind of like haphazard, slightly sort of tacked together nature of the show was kind of what made it endearing and charming.
Yeah, we just embraced it, because if you're going to be live, you can go for a really polished, feel, and we definitely tried to do that with the graphics and the sound effects and all the production quality. But like it's about embracing the liveness of it.
Real, it's got to be, and I think it really lends itself to being authentic and real. The moment you're not those things, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. And that is so key for you guys to hear. I'm so glad that y'all brought up the disaster zone that live can be, because it's a fear for people. And I would love to get a link, and maybe we can drop that to that specific episode, because the way you react when things go wrong makes all the difference in the world. And if you can laugh like these guys did, then it's just fun, and it's actually more engaging for the audience. That they want to come back and see what else is going to go wrong. Right?
I was amazed actually that in 50 live shows in this room, we only dropped off air in 2 shows,
and that was one of them.
That was one of them, I think. And then the other one was we plug all sorts of different cameras in as well. So we've actually got a microscope camera here that we can show if you want to see that in a bit. We've got a thermal imaging camera, like an infrared camera, that we used quite a lot to see what's hot and what's not, and look at different objects. And that just was causing a bit of issues.
Yeah, it was creating some lag.
I think it was the cable. So we dropped off, but then they kind of just hung around, and we came back on again, and we were giggling and corpsing, and they were laughing, and it just it made it. It was great.
So that was the good thing about streaming solely to YouTube, was that if you, I don't know, does it start a new stream? I can't remember if it starts a new
not the way
video.
we were doing it.
Yeah,
it just comes straight back on.
Yeah, and that was nice as well. So that even after the fact that we dropped off, when the video is then published to YouTube afterwards, you can barely tell. It just literally sticks the two chunks together, and that's really good to. It's good to know it does that.
Yeah, good tip there. Sometimes it does. Like you said, it depends on kind of how you're streaming it to get
streaming.
Yeah. Okay, so while we're talking tech, we're gonna get back to some strategic things, how they're using live and recorded video now going forward. I also want to talk about how they grew strategically outside of the things we've already talked about. But we'll come back to all of that. Since we're talking about tech, let's get to the tour and let's talk about the tech that you're using. So we already know that you're using Ecamm Live on a Mac to go live, and you have done some really cool fancy things, like you've got this logo in the corner, you put your social handles up there, and so you're able to do all of that through Ecamm Live. And you guys, oh wait, hold on, there you go for it. Nice. Pictures. That's the quiz.
Question. Would you like a quiz question?
Yeah.
Yes.
We did a back to school quiz. It's just a little special, just something for the audience the other week. And
why don't we ask this audience a question?
That's awesome. Yes, let's do it.
Remember any of the questions?
Yeah. I can look, if you put up the pictures for the last one.
Okay. Which one do you want?
The one which you just did.
Okay,
the
fine.
set of three
Cool.
that you just did.
Boom.
Okay. So your question is, which of these three images is a desert? Is it A, B, or C? Which is a desert?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Go on.
B.
No.
B is a dessert.
Oh.
I would call it a pudding.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, the answer is
A.
A.
So the Antarctica is actually mostly desert, because a desert is somewhere which gets very little rainfall every single year, and that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be dry and sandy.
I love this. So we've got some great. Oh wait, now we've got potatoes.
The potato up. Don't worry, ignore the potato.
I lemons. I choose the chocolate.
I can't see that. Oh, I chose the chocolate.
The middle one, if you're at Cheesecake Factory. Paul got it right. A. Michael got it right. Spirit says
Amazing.
C. So we had all sorts of people participating in that quiz. But that was great. So that is... Like, guys, I want you to be learning from this stuff. They do engagement right. They do content right. So that's why they're here today talking rogue potatoes, Ecamm says. Rogue potatoes.
I want to do one more question. More question.
Yeah,
for
let's
you.
do it.
Okay. And it's this. What is this a picture of? It's something that's fossilized, right? What is this that is fossilized? Let me show you it. What do you think that is? Something that has been fossilized. What do you
I
think?
can give you options if people want some options. What do you think?
Yeah, give them options.
Okay, we'll give you 3 options. Yeah.
Okay, so is it A, the ankle of an ankylosaur? Is it B, the horn of a Parasaurolophus or a Parasaurolophus?
Depending on how you say it.
Paleontology's hard. Or is it 3, a T-Rex poo?
Oh!
3.
I just want to go with 3 just because that sounds funny.
You going with C?
Let's see it.
Way!
Yeah, that is a T-Rex's poo that's been fossilized.
Fossilized poo is actually known as, well, we call them coprolites, and that is the largest T-Rex poo to ever have been discovered. It is 67 centimeters long and has been nicknamed Barnum.
They gave it a name. They named their poo. Hilarious.
That is hilarious. It's like everybody's like having such a great time with this. Those are great examples of what you guys do in your show. You have to, if you're not subscribed to them already, guys, you have to go check them out. So back to the tech.
Yes,
So you've got, so walk me through everything else.
Okay, so We actually haven't used the spare room studio for a while
this?
because we went out and about, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I'm just going to switch to our kind of stand-in mobile camera. Oh, not nice. Not a good view. Whoa.
Up the nose
So
shot.
that means that we can show you. So, laptop attached to USB hub that allows us to bring everything in, taped down, all professionally, as you can see.
Studio
We've got a
hacks.
Stream Deck. So the Stream Deck allows me to change cameras to this cam, or go back to my script camera, or whatever we're doing, or main cam. That also allows us to fire off sound effects.
Hey, let me see if I can get this focused. No.
So those are like quiz sound effects. In terms of other cameras, we can plug in kind of any camera we want. So if we go to the microscope camera, here's a microscope camera. What are we going to put under the microscope camera? Okay, nice. Oh,
Whoa.
ooh.
Is that
What's
the
that?
what? Is that the tape? No.
What is that? What is that?
That is.
What was that?
Here
Oh, okay.
we go.
Normally, we have a rehearsal before the show, and what we'll do is we'll block through everything that we're going to do, and then I build all the scenes on Ecamm so that everything's like super smooth, so we can just jump between all the cameras. For this, we literally threw it together whilst dancing. So if anyone saw the 10-minute countdown, that was us trying to put all this together. What else should we show them?
We've got.
There you go.
Might be able to focus until. Okay, this is
Just a tablet.
just a
to
tablet
kind of
which
see.
we will typically have a script on, that
Script
kind of
notes.
thing.
Well, hold on. Before you go on, when you talk about script, do you mean an outline? Because you don't script.
Well, so we script bits, and we will script like the questions and the answers for a quiz. If there's an explanation that we really want to be kind of spot on, we'll spend quite a lot of time making sure the explanations work.
Yeah, because we're not just, we're not just here chatting. And also, every single week, we would be doing a different topic. So we would have Oceans Week, Dinosaurs Week, we would have plants, theme parks, Magic Week. And we are not experts in all of those things. But every day we'd be wanting to bring rich, interesting educational content. We don't know it all. So because we were turning it out so quickly, it was important that we had notes to make sure that we were factually correct.
Yeah.
And also, there are two of us. I mean, there's been a real learning curve. We've presented together when we've vlogged.
Yeah.
But we've now kind of really got to the point where we totally know what each other's thinking and when someone's going to stop and the other person's going to start and where we're going to go even without talking about it, which is an awesome place to be.
Yes.
We needed to kind of know that whole show structure because there's so much going on, right?
Yeah.
I'm handling the tech, Maddie's handling the props. Some days the whole floor was covered in props. Like we would have like 30 props for a show because we're going to build like a recycled bird feeder or a rock pool or whatever it is, or a dinosaur.
Yeah. So it was important. So yeah, they were elements of it were definitely outlines. It started as outlines, but as we started to move towards subjects we just didn't know as well, that's when we sort of like started to script a little more.
Also, we were like Magic Week, for example. We played with all sorts of things. So at the start of Magic Week, it was like we clicked our fingers and we appeared, and then we could disappear. And
That's awesome.
we were doing things where we were like turning off the mic in order to use hair dryers to levitate like a ping pong ball, and people wouldn't know what we were doing, and then turning it back on and covering things with VTs. Like we were able to have like so much fun in that week with the science of magic. It was awesome.
But to allow us to do sort of those like slightly more complex technical things, we needed to know where we were.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you for that explanation. I just wanted to make sure that the audience knew that, because a lot of people want to actually script everything in a live stream, and that can run you into some problems. But
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
I don't know if this is I can try and show you this. Let me go.
So this is actually an upgrade. So we were using just two old DSLRs, a 700D and a 650D that we've had for years. And then when we decided that we were going to go out and about and do a show from a forest and a farm and a museum,
Castle.
and the last one was a castle. We were on the walls of a medieval castle doing a live show. It was awesome. And we thought we'd upgrade our camera. So this is a little mirrorless Canon M50. which has been a dream, actually. We love it.
The reason we went for it was basically because of the autofocus, because we knew that, I mean, right now we're fairly static, so we could rely on the focus of our previous camera.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to feed animals, or you're trying to joust with a pool noodle,
or
of course you were.
The whole studio moved in our first episode. We mounted it on the back of a lawn mower, and so 5 minutes into the show, the whole thing just starts moving.
It was amazing.
Oh my
God! So much fun. We'll give you the link to that bit as well, actually.
Please do.
Because we just built it all on the back of a trailer and attached it to a lawnmower so we could drive it around.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Want to see the last bit? I guess the last bit. We had two big light. You want to show us the light panels?
I mean, I don't think you'll see. There's a light panel. There's a light panel.
But show them what it's on.
Oh, I mean, it really is on a
on a bed.
This is so embarrassing, but it's literally on the bed.
That's the spare room bed.
I hope you don't have any guests coming over soon.
Oh well.
Oh well, we can't.
There's a lighting stand in the way. Sorry.
Right. Sorry, you'll have to sleep on the couch or the floor. So they did a in-depth behind-the-scenes video about like their whole setup, and they kind of walk you through the Ecamm setup as well. So we'll link to that in the description as well. So after this video, we'll add all of these links and make sure that you guys have access to everything that we've talked about. So anything else on the tech side?
That's kind of it.
I guess that's it for here.
Yeah.
In terms of like when we went out and about, and I actually chatted to you, Lurie, about this, and you kind of helped. You know, we were thinking of how on earth do we do all of this whilst out in the middle of a field? So we needed to think of power solutions.
Yeah.
So the laptop needed to be powered, the camera needed to be powered. So we got these big, block chargers that could run. And actually, we had one for the camera, one for the laptop, one for a monitor or a tablet, and I just built it out of I had a little mobile trolley on the floor with a stack of shelves. Just bought for like $20 from a local hardware store.
So that was power. Power was just solved quite easily by these power blocks.
Okay.
And actually, I mean, in terms of technology, it was Velcro that saved the day. I mean, this stuff's great. The fact that we were able to put Velcro on everything, and then when it came to resetting up our studio, we just had this plank of wood that had the Velcro strips on it, so it was just dunk 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 dunk. We just knew everything went, which is great. And then the other thing, the other problem was data. How do we stream?
And that was a big learning curve. So essentially what we ended up doing was I just used my phone, and I actually just streamed off the data off my phone. Was the every time it was the best.
Did
have a little kind of MiFi hub with a data
different SIM cards,
different SIMs I could try in it.
We had SIMs from a couple of different networks, so that we could test to see which was going to be better in a given area. But it was always your phone.
It was always my phone. It was always my phone. And it meant that we could arrive at a castle at 8 o'clock in the morning, carry all the kit up because it's just us, right? Carry all these boxes of kit up, set up on this wall. 2 hours later, do a live across a castle, and then just pack it up and go again. So, it's fun.
Andy wants to know which mobile network you used. He's over where you guys are.
Oh, so the two best, I think, in the UK in terms of coverage are...
this is just for where we were,
right.
though.
A 3 and 02, like across the UK. But there are maps where you can actually search for what the coverage is like in wherever you want to do your live. So that's what I'd suggest doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that wrap up of your tech. We still have a lot more to talk about with them, but you can do it in whatever size space you have. That is exactly what we teach at Live Streaming Pros, and I would encourage you to to stop making excuses and to follow in Maddie and Greg's footsteps and use what you got and just keep going and keep pushing and just doing it, because you saw how much they grew through just doing it. They've got no space. They've got tripods on beds. They have the setup that you are trying to avoid, but it can be done. And what matters most is what they were talking about before, which is the growth of their channel, the growth of their community, the engagement that happened through doing it and just ignoring the mess, right? So you guys talked about that growth going from 80,000 to 147,000, right? Subscribers on your YouTube channel through doing this live stream show. And you talked about the fact that there were, it was kind of organic growth because people were sharing on social, and you had the awkward selfies and all of that. Whoa!
Just our studio falling apart.
It happens.
Kind of normal.
It's very hot in here because we've been in here for a while, and I think our dancing meant that we just warmed the whole room up.
Don't worry about that.
It's all good. We like
All
that.
good, all good.
We wanted that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. You had somebody in the background like
Keep
filling with
calm
it, right?
Carry on
Stream
live
on.
streaming,
Keep
right?
calm and stream on.
We need a T-shirt that says that. Paul, keep calm and stream on. I love it. I'm totally stealing that from you guys.
Sure, deal. As long as you send me one.
Yeah, totally, right? Okay, so you talked about how it was organic, but outside of creating what I assume is searchable content through these educational type, like I'm sure you did keyword research on these and did stuff like that, or am I wrong? You're like, nope.
No.
We're bad students there, I'm afraid.
Sorry. To be honest, there wouldn't have been time for us to have done that
Yeah.
in our workflow. And I think that, we've both worked with kids for a long period of time on TV. I started in TV making a kids show, and now Maddie hosts a brilliant kids show that's on TV over here in the UK for the little ones. And so we've got a sense of what we think is going to work. So we
Okay.
use that to drive the content choices.
Yeah, because it all happened so quickly. The first lives that we made were about things that we already knew. And that was really important because we just didn't have the time to put all of the research and prep into those initial episodes. But then after that first week, which was actually Garden Week, which was the theme. So I already knew about plants and mini beasts. That was fine. It was covered. But then after that, we thought, okay, what have we done before? So we went on to Bodies Week because you knew a lot about physiology, and we had some fun experiments like the how to make a poo thing in mind. And beyond that, we actually let our audience they kind of like drove us in certain directions. So we asked them, we were like, what topics do you want us to cover? And it was because of that we went to do dinosaurs and space and onwards.
Okay.
And they're just big hitters when it comes to kids content. So it just made sense to do it.
Okay.
So whilst we didn't research keywords, we were probably in
Aware,
the right
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
area anyway.
Yeah, you know this from experience, which is,
Yeah.
I totally get that. So you didn't do that. What things did you do strategically to drive that growth? Or was it really just organic, right time, right thing going on in the world to make that happen?
I mean,
You're like, we just did it.
We do spend a lot of time. I especially think about like strategy around brand growth and things like
Yeah.
that. But really with this, I mean, I guess we did everything that we've learnt over the many years of,
Okay.
good thumbnails, good titling, good metadata, cross-linking between videos.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, the strategy which really worked for us was do it daily at the same time for roughly the same length and become routine. I think that was the strategy that helped us grow. I'd love to tell you that we sat down and had strategic meetings, but we were just too busy making things out of recycling to have done that. But really, it's now we're not doing the daily shows, which is where we're having to think about strategy, because as the world has now changed and things here in the UK have started to free up, the show wasn't needed anymore. And we noticed that in the numbers, especially the live numbers, they dropped. And we had to go, you know what? That's fine, because the show was a product of its time. So now we're really having to think strategically about how we can make the most out of the massive amount of content that we did make.
25 hours plus.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, how can we make the most of that? So I think the strategic thinking is coming in now.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And
And sadly, there isn't, like, if we could, what we'd love to do is chop out each activity that we've done, because each activity would be really helpful. Like, we set this show up not for us, right? We started doing this show because of that need that Maddie talked about. And we always said, if that need changes, we won't do the show anymore because it was for the audience.
Okay.
And we've still got a community, a really strong, amazing community around the show that support us through Patreon and that we engage with on social. And they are still saying that certain things would be helpful. For example, we wanted to do the back to school quiz. Lost my voice. We wanted to do the back to school quiz to help them and their little ones kind of feel more confident about going back to school this week. So that was like our motivation to do something fun and silly, but still, factual.
But I think that's really important when it comes to making kids content on YouTube, whether it's, pre-recorded videos or live, is that we personally believe it has to be kids first. So that was
our driver with everything, actually.
Yeah, it really was. We always said to ourselves, kids first. Is this about the kids? Is it important for the kids? Then that's what we have to do. So that's what drove all of the decision making.
I love that. So well said. And you are thinking, maybe you don't have it all figured out, but you're going to do live and recorded and maybe take some of the live and repurpose that. But there will be a balance going forward, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
So we will certainly continue doing Let's Go Lives in some capacity, but I can't see a place where they'll necessarily be daily anymore.
Right.
Well, I mean, at the moment, because things have eased over here, you're back out filming.
I am, yeah.
For a kids series, a TV series. So, you're away for like 2 weeks filming and then come back for a little bit and away again. And I've got 2 podcasts that are restarting of mine. So our other work that stopped during that period is bubbling back up again.
Yeah.
But we've realized that making our own show direct to our own community is a wonderful thing. You're in control of the editorial. You're having direct communication with your audience. Very different to TV, very different to radio. And we have both loved that and really appreciated it as well.
Yeah, so we want to keep doing it in some capacity, and like you mentioned, find out a way to make the most of all of the videos we did make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so we have some questions for the audience. In terms of, so Mark Egan is asking, essentially he's asking if you have any specific tips about how you're producing in Ecamm to share with the audience.
Yeah, gosh, so many. So it was. I mean, I love a challenge, and I just loved that learning curve at the start. And shout out to some of the videos that are on YouTube to help people like me learn all this sort of stuff, or the live streaming pro course. So I basically have a different scene set up for each camera, and then I know so here you go. I should be able to put this on live demo mode.
There you go.
Sweet, there you go. So this is how mine's always set up. Over here you've got the comments going absolutely bonkers. This is where I would, in the scenes box here, this is where I'll have a scene for each camera. So, for example, we always start with a backdrop, at which point I know what level my music needs to come in. We bring in the ident music. When I've checked that we're going live, I then switch to a countdown. I won't bore, well, I'll bore you with a 12-second countdown. And then this is set up. This is set up to automatically go on to the main camera, which it's going to do now. And then we both then know that that's our cue. We go into our normal kind of patter at the start. I'm fading down the sound effect during our kind of opener.
Okay.
And then that kind of turns off. And then I have all of my assets in the right boxes for each scene. So today there won't be anything. Like there's nothing in the microscope scene. There's the microscope on Maddie's hand. Fun. Nice. Desk cam.
You got into some glitter there.
Whoa. Laptop cams, normally a bit of a backup here in case we drop out. So that's the main thing. I've just got everything set up. I've got all of my assets organized in folders here. So I know that I can just click for all of the socials to come on, or the email to come on, or all of our images, or like the Patreon to come on, or whatever. Super easy. And then I guess the last thing to show you is, Stream Deck. So let's bring up, oh no, you won't be, can you still see that?
Yeah, we can see it.
Sweet.
Oh,
So yeah, in Stream Deck has this great plugin that it has the Ecamm Live plugin here. So all you need to do is drag and drop something in. So for example, if I drag and drop in run scene, I could then choose whichever of those scenes we talked about as to cue. So say I wanted to go to the backdrop, that's now set on that button. So,
I love that one of our Stream Deck buttons is just called poo.
poo, yeah. Yeah, there's quite
It's
a few.
the sound effect.
Sure.
It's that sound effect we like to play. So now I can just press backdrop, and it will cut to backdrop. It's just all that sort of stuff.
I do think that getting the Stream Deck, that wasn't something we had from the start. It was a later edition.
It was actually a gift from a viewer,
which it made a world of difference.
Huge.
Because it freed Greg up a little bit, and it meant that Greg was able to do more of our hands-on demos, because it meant I was able to do some of the camera switching.
Oh yeah.
It was really nice because before that, if there was anything fiddly that needed to be done, I had to do it, and it kind of just meant that you got involved a little bit more.
Yeah, because
nice.
we'd also quite often have a like over-the-shoulder DSLR that would kind of work as a table camera.
Okay.
And in say Garden Week, we had a DSLR pointing out into the garden that we could switch to like live to see any birds come into the bird feeder and things like that.
So you are doing this all on a single MacBook Pro, or is that what? That's a lot of inputs that you have going in. And do you ever have stuttering, or is it's handling it pretty well?
No.
Not
always.
We used an old laptop to start with.
Yeah. Okay.
Because again, we were just using what we had, and we had an old MacBook Pro that just didn't have enough juice.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was struggling.
So you did get a newer one.
Yeah.
All it's good for now is just making sure that we have a brand new back here. That's all it does.
I have a couple of laptops that do just that job as well.
Yeah.
Like it's necessary. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's running off of MacBook Pro. Like I said, they did an in-depth behind-the-scenes video we can link to in the description as well. You saw their Patreon, patreon.com/letsgolive. A lot of you were saying, oh wait, here we go. A lot of you were talking about how amazing these two people are, how engaging they are. If you like their content, if you like their personalities, please do go support them. At least subscribe to their YouTube channel. Sign up for their Patreon to support the efforts that they're doing for their own community. If you have kids, you know where to go for some educational, fun content. These two guys.
So much.
Where else can we find? Greg, you have your own channel as well.
Yeah. So I have a channel that I basically my YouTube career, because I started with TV, and my YouTube career has always been hosting stuff on other people's YouTube channels. So I did a channel for BBC Earth for like 5 years that was called Head Squeeze, then Brit Lab, then Earth Lab, and it was answering science questions. So I never really built up my own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I've just started to put some stuff on my YouTube channel. In fact, there's the first ever YouTube course on science communication. So if anyone wants to talk about anything factual, it doesn't even need to be science or tech or engineering or whatever. There's a whole 10-part series on there about interviews and making YouTube videos and giving a talk using demos, so you can go and have a look at that.
You're like, I don't put much on my channel, but there is a 10-part first ever YouTube course on science communication, if that's interesting to you.
I'm really
there's
bad.
also a viral video about that time you went down into the deep ocean, but there's not really much there.
There's a video about me diving to 1,000 foot in the ocean. You're right, there's also that. There's some stuff on the channel. Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, Luria. Thanks.
I think you need to stop downplaying yourself is what I'm hearing. One last question from the audience. From your tech coach, Kathleen, is wondering about monetizing and doing kids content. That was a big thing over the last year. Well, last year, I guess. Let's talk about it.
So
we can share numbers and everything.
We can be quite open about what we do, right? I think this is so in terms of everything. So we
worries me when you say that.
I know, right? I was like, what is she about to share?
Live on the
No.
internet.
It's just, so rules were introduced, which was that if you are making now on YouTube, if you are making content for kids and families, then you have to mark it as made for kids. And there is no question that our videos are absolutely made for kids and families. Yeah. But at the same time, if you mark a video, a live stream as made for kids, you don't get the live chat, you don't get that interaction. And we felt that defeated the point.
Right.
So our compromise is that we brought on someone who is a moderator. So we always have someone who is in our live chat moderating comments. We've never had anything nasty, but they are there just in case. And then the moment the video, the live is finished and the video is published to YouTube, that's when we mark it as made for kids. So comments at a later date are completely turned off. Yeah. That does mean, however, that the monetization on these videos is next to nothing.
Oh, it's pennies, it's cents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, educational content.
Throw that
CPMs,
Patreon link back up there.
Well, yeah.
So just to kind of share actual numbers for you, right? So there was a video we forgot to mark made for kids, right, for a few days, and because we were just too busy, and it was one that got lots and lots of views, and we basically worked out that the CPM for like 50,000 views was about 50 quid. So it's about £1 or like $1.50 per 1,000 views. If for educational content, if you're not made for kids.
Yeah.
As soon as we make it for kids, 50,000 views would literally be less than £5, less than $5.
Oh, if that. But
probably if less than $3.
The thing is as well is that even if we weren't marking it as made for kids, because we are clearly an educational channel aimed at children, like our CPMs just aren't worth much anyway.
But we should also say we're cool with this because,
yes,
you know, we did a lot of reading about it. We've spoken to people at YouTube and at YouTube Kids, and we totally understand why this has to happen.
We've accepted our fate.
Yeah, and we were like, right, cool, this is what it is. We want to do the right thing. You know, our videos feature kids, right? But even if they didn't feature kids, as Maddie said, they're directed at kids. So boom, hit made for kids. And that's just the nature of the beast. We're never going to get any money through our YouTube videos.
So we have to be creative. And it was why we decided to bring on
T-shirts.
Yes. So that was another thing. Yeah. So we started the Patreon, and that was a tricky one as well to navigate, because we never want to be advertising to the children in the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So we never mentioned, we never said, go and sign up to the Patreon in our videos. We casually thanked our Patreons occasionally. But the way we did that was that we created videos that were specifically for grown-ups, and we put them on our social media, other social media channels. So Twitter, Instagram. So that's how we encouraged parents and grown-ups to go to our Patreon. And then we decided to do T-shirts. We had an opportunity to do them. I already had some T-shirts anyway that were being sold through this fantastic T-Mill store.
They are eco T-shirts, so they're only printed when you order them.
Yeah, printed on demand.
So you don't get any wastage, and the factory uses renewable energy and all that sort of stuff.
And who was that again?
So that's
a company in the UK.
Yeah, on the Isle of Wight. It's if you were just to Google T-Mill Maddie Moate, you would find the Let's Go Live T-shirt. So it's T-Mill Maddie Moate. And that was a really great thing for us. Again, we didn't say on Let's Go Live, you can buy our T-shirts now. No. So instead,
we just wore them.
We just wore them. We made a Patreon video for the grown-ups, and again, we mentioned it on our other social platforms.
Because every decision was kids first.
Yeah. And we didn't want to be like, buy our T-shirts now, when, you know, not every family might afford that. Yeah. And that was a decision with Patreon as well. Patreon works with memberships and
perks.
Yeah. So the idea is that you have membership tiers. You pay this amount of money, you get this amount, you get this much more, or this amount, you get some really cool thing. We decided that, considering the state the world was in and that we wanted to be inclusive as possible, we took away perks. We just said, this is
give what you can.
Give what you can.
Here are some suggestions.
Yeah.
Give what you can. If it's $1 a month, great. If it's $10 a month, incredible.
Yeah.
And we have actually started doing special live Q&As for the patrons kind of since our number of shows has dropped. But really,
everyone gets the same treatment.
Everyone gets the same treatment. Yeah.
And so that was the decision, which is
Okay. And so without those direct call to actions and the more creative approach that you took, were you happy with the results of, the revenue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredibly.
Okay.
Again, it's down to the community and that growth and people wanting to support us at whatever level they chose.
I know, I often think, if we had introduced perks with memberships, would we have got more people going for that higher tier? And I don't think we would, because I think our audience was so grateful for the honesty and the authenticity and the fact that we have always kept them completely clued up from the beginning.
We've let them make a lot of the decisions as well, actually.
Yeah, so I think people really have just given what they can. And that worked out really well for us. I don't necessarily think that's a strategy that would work for everybody. I think the fact that you have these membership tiers is really great and really useful and should be taken advantage of. But for us as educators making stuff for kids, that was the right approach.
And I think it's so powerful that you're able to share that, because coming from, in the marketing world specifically, there's so much data behind, like, you have to be outright. And what you've done is lead with a heart-centered approach to sales. And that's super powerful. I mean, you have the kids, of course, which gets really tricky to sell to. But if you just take the kids part out of that, that is a possibility to lead from the heart and just offer things, and whoever buys, but you don't necessarily have to go super like call to action, and get really salesy, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But I think, like we said earlier, though, we were doing this because it was needed.
Yeah.
It was never meant to be. It was never like a money-making project for us. And like we said, we accepted our fate when it came to monetization on YouTube. So anything else was a bonus. And really, all of the money that we were able to get from Patreon helped to support this small team of people: the editor, the administrator, the person who, would moderate the live chat. And all that did was allow us to make the show bigger, better, and more ambitious. So it never was and never will be a money-making project.
No, I mean, we could look to pivot to that in the future if we wanted to, and we could, look at different monetization options off the platform. And that's something we could explore. And we've talked about thinking about approaching sponsors and talking to sponsors more about special episodes and things like that. But we're just really proud and happy with what we've done, and we're gonna carry on with it because we really love it and the community loves it when we can. Really,
it's a unique situation though, so
I love that. Thank you guys so much for opening up and sharing behind the scenes and being willing to spend some time with this audience and giving them, as Andy said, it was content creator gold.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Once more, tell everybody where they can get you and watch your streams.
Cool.
Okay.
So we are on Twitter and Instagram at these handles.
At Maddie Moate.
At Greg Foot. And the channel is Let's Go Live. It's on Maddie Moate's channel, or you can just do letsgolive.show and you'll find it nice and easily.
youtube.com/Maddie Moate for Let's Go Live.
Awesome. You guys, are you ready to put your dancing shoes on and dance this show out? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you all so very much. Remember, we are live here for Go Live Now every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific and 10 a.m. Pacific. I don't know what I'm saying. 10 a.m. Pacific, and at Live Streaming Pros, we're live 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So put on those dancing shoes. Let's bring it out. Thank you so much.